Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashalakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupat Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nityanamne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasha Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we are going to read the third chapter of On the Way to Krishna. So the chapter's name is Seeing Krishna Everywhere and Always. So let's begin it. Chapter 3, Seeing Krishna Everywhere and Always. In our practical life, Krishna instructs us how to invoke Krishna consciousness. It is not that we are to stop executing our duty or to cease from activity. Rather, activities have to be conducted in Krishna consciousness. Everyone has a vocation in life, but with what consciousness does he enter upon it? Everyone is thinking, oh, I must have a vocation in order to maintain my family. Society, the government, or the family have to be satisfied, and no one is free from such consciousness. One has to be in proper consciousness to execute any activity nicely. He whose conscience is agitated, who is like a madman, cannot execute any duty. We should execute our duty properly, but we should do it thinking to satisfy Krishna. It is not that we have to change the process of work, but we have to understand. We have to understand, but we have to understand from whom we are working, for whom we are working, and whatever activity we have to do, we must execute. But we should not be carried away by karma, desire. The Sanskrit word for kama is used to indicate lust, desire, or sense gratification. Sri Krishna instructs that we should not work for the satisfaction of kama or our own lust. The whole teaching of the Bhagavad-gītā is based upon this principle. Arjuna wanted to satisfy his senses by refraining from fighting with his relatives, but Krishna spoke to him to convince him to execute his duty for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Materially, it may seem very pious that he was giving up his claim for a kingdom and refusing to kill his relatives. But Krishna did not approve of this because the principle for Arjuna's decision was to satisfy his own senses. One's business or occupation need not to be changed, as Arjuna's was not changed. But one does not have to change his consciousness. In order to change the consciousness, however, knowledge is required. That knowledge is knowing I am part and parcel of Krishna, the superior energy of Krishna. That is real knowledge. Relative knowledge may teach us how to repair a machine, but real knowledge is knowing our position as being integral with Krishna. Being part of Him, our pleasure, which is partial, is dependent on the whole. For instance, my hand can take pleasure when it is attached to my body and serves it. It does not take pleasure in serving another bodies because we are part of Krishna. Our pleasure is in serving Him. I cannot be happy serving you. Everyone is thinking. I can only be happy serving myself, but no one knows who the self is. That self is Krishna. Mamaivamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana santaha sanatana manasas mamasastandriyani prakristani karasati. The living entities in the conditional world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to the conditional life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. Gita 15.7. The jivas or the living entities are now detached from the whole due material contact. It is therefore necessary for us to strive to attach ourselves again through the latent Krishna consciousness that is within us. Artificially, we are trying to forget Krishna and live independently, but this is not possible. When we strive to live independent of Krishna, we come under the influence of the laws of material nature. If one thinks he is independent of Krishna, he becomes dependent on the illusionary energy of Krishna. Just as if one thinks that he is dependent of the government and its regulation, he becomes dependent on the police force. Everyone is trying to become independent, and this is called Maya, illusion. Individually, communally, socially, nationally, or universally, it is not possible to become independent. When we come to realize that we are dependent, we will have attained knowledge. Today, so many people are striving for peace in the world, but they do not know how to implement that peace formula. The United Nations has been striving for peace for so many years, but still war is going on. Yachapi sarvabhutanam bijam tad aham arjuna na tadasti vinayatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. Gita 10.39. Krishna is thus proprietor of everything, the ultimate beneficiary, and the reservoir of the results of everything. We may consider ourselves to be the proprietors of the fruits of our labor, but this is misconception. We must come to understand that Krishna is the ultimate proprietor of the fruits of all our works. Hundreds of people may be working in an office, but they understand that whatever profit the business makes belongs to the proprietor. As soon as a teller at the bank thinks, "Oh, I have so much money. I am the proprietor. Let me take it home with me." His trouble begins. If we think that we can use whatever wealth we have amassed for our own sense gratification, we are acting out of karma, lust. But if we come to understand that everything we have belongs to Krishna, we are liberated. We may have the same money in our hands, but as soon as we think that we are the proprietor, we are under the influence of Maya. One who is situated in the consciousness that everything belongs to Krishna is an actual learned man. Tvasasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bunjita magrida kasya swadhanam. Everything, animate or inanimate, that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one must not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. This consciousness of tva- s- s- sasva- savasya, isavasya, everything belongs to Krishna, must be revived, not only individually but nationally and universally. Then there will be a peace. We often tend to a philanthropist and altruistic, and we strive to be friends with our countrymen, with our families, and with all the people of world. But this is based on wrong conception. The real friend is Krishna, and if we want to benefit our family, nation, or planet, we will work for him. If we have our own family's welfare in mind, we will try to make all members Krishna conscious. There are so many men trying to benefit their families, but unfortunately they do not succeed. They do not know what the real problem is. As the Bhagavatam says, one should not attempt to become a father, mother, or teacher unless he is able to save his children from death, from the grip of the material nature. The father should be in knowledge of Krishna, and he should be determined that the innocent children who are entrusted to him will not have to undergo the cycle of birth and death again. He should be resolved to train his children in such a way that they will no longer have to be subjected to the painful cycle of birth and death. But before one can do this, he has to make himself expert. If he becomes expert in Krishna consciousness, he can help not only his children but the society and nation. But if he himself is bound by ignorance, how can he unite others who are similarly bound? Before one can make others free, he must be free himself. Actually, no one is a free man, for everyone is under the spell of material nature. But one who is surrendered to Krishna cannot be touched by Maya. He of all men is free. If one places himself in sunlight, there is no question of darkness. But if one places himself in artificial light, it may flicker and go out. Krishna is just like sunlight. Where he is present, there is no question of darkness and ignorance. The wise men, the Mahatmas, understand this. Am sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Gita 10.8. In this verse, the word Buddha is used, which indicates a wise man or one who is learned man. What is his symptom? He knows that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, of all the emanations. He knows that whatever is but an emanation of Krishna. In the material world, sex life is most prominent factor. Sexual attraction is found in all species of life, and one may ask where it comes from. The wise man understands that the tendency is in Krishna, and that is revealed in his relationship with the damsels of Raja. Whatever is found in this material world can also be found in perfection in Krishna. The difference is that material world everything is manifest in perverted form. In Krishna, all of these tendencies and manifestations exist in pure consciousness, in spirit. One who knows this in full knowledge becomes pure devotee of Krishna. महात्मनास्तु मां पार्थ दैवं प्राकृतिम् अश्रिता भजन्ति अनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतात्माम् अव्ययम् सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां ये तनश्यन्त दिदिव्रता नाम्न्यास् नामस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या nityayukta upasate. O son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Gita 9.13 to 9.14. Who is the great soul? The Mahatma. It is it is he who is under the influence of the superior energy. At present, we are under the influence of Krishna's inferior energy. As living entity, our position is marginal. We can transfer ourselves to either of two energies. Krishna is fully independent, and because we are part and parcel of him, we also have the quality of independence. Therefore, we have to choose, we have a choice as to which energy we function under. Because we are ignorant of the superior nature, we have no alternative but to remain in the inferior nature. Some philosopher profound that there is no nature other than the one we are presently experiencing, and that the only solution is to nullify it and become void. But we cannot be void because we are living entities. It does not mean that we are finished just because we change our bodies. Before we can get out from the influence of material nature, we have to understand where our place actually is and where we are to go. If we do not know where to go, then we simply say, oh, we do not know what is superior and inferior. All we knew is this. So let us stay here and rot. The Bhagavad-gītā, however, gives us information of superior energy, the superior nature. What Krishna speaks, he speaks for all the eternity. It does not change. It does not matter what our present occupation is or what Arjuna's occupation was. We only have to change our consciousness. At present, we are guided by the consciousness of self-interest, but we do not know what our real self-interest is. Actually, we do not have self-interest, but sense-interest. Whatever we are doing to satisfy the senses. It is the consciousness that has to be changed. In its place, we must implant our real self-interest, Krishna consciousness. How is this done? How is it possible to become Krishna consciousness in every step of our life? Actually, Krishna makes it very easy for us. Rasoham ap, rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sasi suryaho pranamo sarva vedesyo sabdakhe paursam nisu. O son of Kunti, Arjuna, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Gita 7.8. In this verse, Sri Krishna is describing how we can become fully Krishna conscious in all stages of life. All living entities must drink water. The taste of water is so nice that when we are thirsty, nothing but water seems to do. No manufacturer can create the pure taste of water. We can thus remember Krishna or God when we drink water. No one can avoid drinking water every day of his life. So God consciousness is there. How can we forget? Similarly, when there is some illumination, that is also Krishna. The original effulgence in the spiritual sky, the Brahma Jyoti, emanates from the body of Krishna. This material sky is covered. The very nature of the material universe is darkness, which we experience at night. It is being artificially illuminated by the sun, by the reflected light of the moon, and by electricity. When there is illumination, where is this illumination coming from? The sun is being illuminated by the Brahma Jyoti, or the bright effulgence of the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is no need for sun, moon, or electricity because everything is illuminated by the Brahma Jyoti. On the earth, however, we can remember Krishna whenever we see some illumination from the sun. When we chant the Vedic mantras, which we begin with Om, we can also remember Krishna. Om, like Hare Krishna, is also addressed to God, and Om is also Krishna. Shabda means sound, and wherever we hear any sound, we should know that it is a vibration of the original sound, the pure spiritual sound Om or Hare Krishna. Whatever sound we hear in the material world is a reflection of that original spiritual sound Om. In this way, when we hear a sound, when we drink water, when we see some illumination, we can remember God. If we can do it this by this, then when we will not remember God. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. In this way, we can remember Krishna every 24 hours a day. And in this way, Krishna is with us. Of course, Krishna is always with us. But as soon as possible, as soon as we remember this, his presence is factual and is felt. There are 9 different processes for associating with God, and the first method of associating is Shravanam, hearing. By reading the Bhagavad-gītā, we hear the speeches of Sri Krishna, which means that we are actually associating with the Krishna or God. We should always remember that when we speak of Krishna, we refer to God. In a as we associated with God and we go on hearing the words of Krishna and his names, the contamination of material nature is reduced. In understanding the Krishna, his sound, illumination, water, and so many other things, it becomes impossible to avoid Krishna. If we can remember Krishna in this way, our association with him is permanent. Association with Krishna is like an association with sunshine. Where there is sunshine, there is no contamination. As long as one is out of the ultraviolet rays of sun, he will not be diseased. In the Western medicine, sunshine is recommended for all kinds of diseases. And according to the Vedas, a diseased man should worship the sun for cure. Similarly, if we associate with Krishna and Krishna consciousness, our our maladies are cured. By chanting Hare Krishna, we can associate with Krishna, and we can see the water as Krishna, the sun and the moon as Krishna, and we can hear sorry, and we can hear Krishna in sound and taste him in water. Unfortunately, in our present condition, we have forgotten Krishna. But now we have to revive our spiritual life by remembering him. This process of Sarvanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting was approved by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was speaking with Ramananda Raya, a friend of the Lord's and a great devotee, the Lord questioned him about the methods of spiritual realization. Ramananda recommended Varnashrama Dharma, Sannyasa, the renunciation of work, and so many other methods. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, all these are not so good. Each time Ramananda suggested something, Lord Chaitanya rejected it, requesting a better method for spiritual development. Finally, Ramananda Raya quoted a Vedic aphorism which recommended that one give up all unnecessary endeavor in mental speculation for understanding God, because by speculation it is not possible to arrive at the ultimate truth. Scientists, for instance, may speculate about the distant stars and planets, but they can never come to any conclusion without experience. One may go to on speculating throughout his life and never reach any conclusions. It is especially useless to speculate about God. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that all sorts of speculation should be given up. It is recommended instead that one becomes submissive, realizing that not only is he an insignificant creature, but that this earth is only one small point in the great universe. New York City may seem very large, but when one realizes that earth is such a small spot, and that on earth the United States is just another small spot, and in that United States New York City is but a small spot, and that in a New York City the individual is only one out of the millions, then one can understand that he is not very so important after all. Realizing our significance in the face of the universe and God, we should not be artificially puffed up, but should be submissive. We should be very careful not to fall prey to frog philosophy. Once there was a frog in well, and upon being informed the existence of Atlantic Ocean by a friend, he asked is different. Oh, what is Atlantic Ocean? It is vast body of water, his friend replied. How vast? Is it double the size of the well? Oh no, much larger, his friend replied. How much larger? 10 times the size? In this way the frog went on calculating. But what is possibility of his ever understanding the depths and far reaches of the great ocean? Our faculties, experience, and power of speculation are always limited. We can only rise uh, to such frog philosophy. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that we give up the method of speculation as a waste of time in trying to understand the supreme. After giving up speculation, what should we do? The Bhagavatam recommends that we become submissive and hear the message of God submissively. This message may be found also in Bhagavad-gītā and other Vedic literatures, in the Bible or Quran, in any bona fide scripture, or it may be heard from a realized soul. The main point is that one should not speculate but simply hear about God. What will be the result of such hearing? Regardless of what is one, whether is a poor or a rich man, an American or an European or Indian, a Brahmana, Shudra or whatever. If one but hears the transcendental work of of God, the Lord, who can never be conquered by any power or force, will be conquered by love. Arjuna was friend of Krishna's, but Krishna, although supreme Godhead, because became sorry But Krishna, although the supreme god, became Arjuna's chariot driver, a menial servant. Arjuna loved Krishna, and Krishna reciprocated his love in this way. Similarly, when Krishna was a child, he playfully took the shoes of his father, Nanda Maharaj, and put them on his head. People may try very hard to become one with God, but actually we can surpass that. We can become the Father of God. Of course, God is the Father of all creatures, and he has no father himself. But he accepts his devotees, his lover, as a father. Krishna agrees to be conquered by his devotees out of love. All one has to do is hear the message of the Lord very carefully. In the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, Sri Krishna gives additional ways in which he can be perceived in every step of life. Punyo gandha prutvam cha tejaschasmi vibhavasu जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तापश्चस्मि tapasvisu. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all the ascetics. Gita 7.9. The word Punya Gada referred to fragrance. Only Krishna can create flavor and fragrances. We may synthetically create some scents or fragrances, but these are not as good as the originals that occur in nature. When we smell a good natural fragrance, we can think, oh, here is God, here is Krishna. Or when we see some natural beauty, we can think, oh, here is Krishna. And or when we see something uncommon, powerful, or wonderful, we can think here is Krishna. Or when we see any form of life, whether be in a tree, in a plant, or an animal or human being, we should understand that the life is part and parcel of Krishna. For as soon as the spiritual spark, which is part and parcel of Krishna, is taken away from the body disintegrates. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam viddhi partha sanatanam buddher buddhi matmanam asmi tejas tejasvinam aham. O son of Partha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligent of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. Gita 7.10. Here again it is explicitly stated that Krishna is the life of all that lives. Thus, at very step we can see God. People may ask, "Can you show me God?" Yes, of course, God can be seen in so many ways. But if one closes his eyes and says, "I shall not see God," then how can he be shown? In the above verse, the word bija means seed, and that seed is proclaimed to be eternal, sanatana. One may see a Hare Krishna. One may see a huge tree, but what is the origin of this tree? It is the seed, and that seed is eternal. The seed of existence is within every living entity. The body itself may go through so many changes. It may develop within the mother's womb, come out as a small baby, and grow through childhood and adulthood. But the seed of that existence that is within is permanent. Therefore, it is Sanatanam. Imperceptibly, we are changing our bodies at every moment, at every second. But the bijam, the seed, the spiritual spark does not change. Krishna proclaims himself to be the eternal seed with all existence. He is also the intelligence of the intelligent person. Without being favored by Krishna, one cannot become extraordinarily intelligent. Everyone is trying to be more intelligent than others. But without the favor of Krishna, that is not possible. Therefore, whenever we encounter someone with extraordinary intelligence, we should think that intelligence is Krishna. Similarly, the influence of one who is very influential is also Krishna. Hare Krishna. Balam balavantam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharata sabha. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am the sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of Bharatas, Arjuna, Gita 7.11. The elephant and the gorilla are very strong animals. And we should understand that they get their strength from Krishna. The human beings cannot acquire such strength by his own endeavor. But if Krishna so favors, a man can get strength to exceed the elephants thousands of times. The great warrior Bhima, who fought the battle of Kurukshetra, was said to have strength 10,000 times that of an elephant. Similarly, the desire of lust, kama, that is also not against religious principles, should also be seen as Krishna. What is the lust? Lust generally means sex life, but here kama refers to sex life, which is not against religious principle. That is to say, sex for the begetting of good children. If one beget good Krishna conscious children, he can have sex thousands of times. But if he can beget only children, but if he can only beget children who are raised in the consciousness of the gods of cats and dogs, his sex life is to be considered irreligious. In the religious and civilized societies, marriage is intended as an indicator that a couple is to engage in sex for begetting good children. Therefore, married sex life is considered religious and unmarried sex life is considered irreligious. Actually, there is no difference between the sannyasi and the householder, provided that the householder's sexual activities are based on the religious principles. Yacha eva yacha eva sat sattvika bhava rajastamas tamasascha matta evitan viddhi natvai aham te sute mai. Know that all states of being, they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature. For they, on the contrary, are within me. Gita 7.12. One may question Krishna in this way. You say you are sound, water, illumination, fragrance, the seed of all, strength, and calm. Desire. Does that mean that you exist simply in the mode of goodness? In this material world, there are mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Thus far, Krishna has described himself as that which is good. For instance, sex in the marriage according to the religious principle. But what about the other modes? Does Krishna not exist in them? In the answer, Krishna relates that whatever is seen in the material world is due to an interaction of three modes of material nature. Whatever can be observed is a combination of goodness, passion, or ignorance. And in all cases, these three states are produced by me. Because they are produced by Krishna, their position is in him, but he is not in them. For Krishna himself is transcendental to the three modes. Thus, in another sense, bad and evil things which are produced out of ignorance are also Krishna. When they are supplied by Krishna, how is this? For example, an electrical engineer is producing electrical energy. In our homes, we are experiencing this electrical energy as coldness in the refrigerator or the heat in electric stove. But at the power plant, electrical energy is neither cold nor hot. The manifestation of this energy may be different for the living entities, but for Krishna they are non-different. Therefore, Krishna sometimes acts as what appears to be the principles of passion or ignorance. But for Krishna there is nothing but Krishna. Just as for the electrical energy is simply electricity and nothing else. He makes no distinction that this is cold electricity or that is hot electricity. Everything is being generated by Krishna. Indeed, the Vedanta Sutra confirms athato brahma jigna atato brahma jignasa janmade asya yatha. Everything is flowing from the supreme absolute truth. What the living entities is considering to be bad or good is only so far the living entity. For he is conditioned, but because Krishna is not conditioned, for him there is no question of bad or good. Because we are conditioned, we are suffering from dualities, but for him everything is perfect. So we have ended our third chapter as well, and the chapter name is seeing Krishna everywhere and always. And we are left over with the road of the foolish and the wise, steering towards the Supreme. Tomorrow, so we will stop here today and we'll continue tomorrow. Till then, Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarupishya kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.